episode 73 of Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. My name is Bill Pivets. So after last week's match between Nakamura and Finn Balor, we got three grudge matches pretty much this week. Bayley versus Nia Jax, American Alpha versus Authors of Pain, and Samoa Joe versus Rhino. But before I get into this week's episode of NXT, I do want to cover the WWE draft that took place on Tuesday. WWE released the rules saying that 6 picks would be made from the NXT roster, and then a lot of people began speculating who that would be. Balor, Bayley, Samoa Joe maybe, Austin Aries. I think my picks were, my guesses were Balor, Bayley, American Alpha, Bobby Roode, Carmella, and Ty Dillinger. I was half right. The 6 picks were Finn Balor went to Raw, American Alpha went to SmackDown, Nia Jax is on Raw, Alexa Bliss, Mojo Rawley, and Carmella are also on SmackDown. Very interesting group of picks there. Balor and American Alpha were no-brainers. Nia Jax, big question mark. I don't think she's ready for the main roster. Alexa Bliss, I agree. She definitely, maybe another 6 months or so, but she's definitely proven herself in the last couple months that she's main roster ready. Mojo Rawley, it was bound to happen. He's been down in NXT for a while. And with Zack Ryder also on SmackDown, we could be seeing the Hype Bros team up once again. Carmella getting the call is a nice change of pace. She's done pretty much everything besides hold the NXT Women's Championship. And it's interesting that they have her separated from Enzo and Cass. I don't know if they want to keep them separated for whatever reason they have. But it'll be interesting to see. With the Women's Championship on Raw, I don't know what the women of SmackDown are going to be competing for, but it'll be interesting to see how they pull this draft off. They really haven't said anything regarding the champions. But to the people complaining that Samoa Joe, Nakamura, Bayley, and others were not called up, you guys are ridiculous. They have a TakeOver Brooklyn show to promote. Spoiler alert, Nakamura and Joe are the main event after Nakamura beat Balor. That's the next in line, so you're not going to have either one of them called up. Bayley's on her redemption storyline. I'll go over that in the recap of the match against Nia Jax. You're not going to call her up. Who else? Austin Aries, no, he's in the middle of a heel run in NXT. Bobby Roode hasn't debuted on TV. That was one of my guesses. So it would have been a nice surprise, but kind of want to get him on NXT TV first. Who else are people complaining that wasn't called up? I don't know. It's just you can't gut this NXT roster. You're going to leave no stars if that were the case. Oh, Asuka was the other one. She's the NXT Women's Champion. You're not calling her up. I understand that they did it with Kevin Owens last year, but this is completely different. This is a full-on draft. You're not going to just pluck 6 top stars from NXT. They kind of need some build around there, because if you're going to pull these guys from NXT, TakeOver Brooklyn is going to look completely different. And not many people would want to go. Even though they already bought their tickets, it's not going to be as exciting without seeing the stars. But that's my little recap of the draft and just some of the frustrations I have with people complaining that the big names weren't drafted. You can't take them all. The show kicked off with Samoa Joe versus Rhino. If you guys remember last week, Samoa Joe had a promo. Rhino interfered, kind of challenged him. Or, not interfered, interrupted. Challenged him to a match, so the match is taking place this week. Wasn't really expecting it to kick off the show, but because there's really no story behind it, just I challenge you for a fight, let's go. It makes sense that it's opening the show. They had a little bit of a test of strength early. Joe got the better of him as he tossed him around and landed his enziguri in the corner. He then cut Rhino off with a back elbow from the ropes. Joe missed his senton splash, which gave Rhino some breathing room. He landed a nice belly-to-belly slam. He went for the gore, but Joe kicked him and landed some palm strikes. He then took him down and won with the Coquina clutch. Fun match. Just watching these two big guys go at it was pretty interesting. Just neither one wanted to give in the early going. Rhino did look good in defeat, considering he's just a veteran guy right now. There's really no build around him, but he really doesn't lose much if they want to build him as another dominant guy. And Joe obviously was going to win this match. He's got the NXT title, and his match, presumably, and obviously with Nakamura coming up next month, he wasn't going to lose. He isn't going to lose anytime soon. Asuka was then interviewed and asked who she would want to face, either Bayley or Nia. She said, "I will fight Bayley. I will fight Nia. I will fight both." So I guess she doesn't really care who wins this match and who she faces for the NXT Women's Championship. She'll beat both of them. As they advertised the American Alpha vs. Authors of Pain match, Graves voiced over saying that American Alpha were drafted to SmackDown and they would have a big test in front of them tonight. Tom Phillips then threw to a highlight package for the draft. And I'm actually surprised and happy at the crowd popping every time the draft brought up an NXT. They mentioned an NXT star. I think Mick Foley did it with Finn Balor and Danny Bryan when he drafted American Alpha. And same thing with Nia Jax. The crowd popped. They wanted to see some new faces on the roster, and they definitely got them. And they actually had some video clips of the NXT stars' reaction when they got drafted. It was actually really cool seeing Nia Jax. The surprised look on her face when she got drafted. It was really cool to see. Alexa Bliss, too. She had real emotion when... That's the thing. I don't know if this was the first time when they found out either. Was this the only time that they knew? Did they know they were getting drafted beforehand? They just didn't know when or where? But if this was a genuine emotion, that's actually pretty cool. Second match was American Alpha versus the Authors of Pain. It's going to suck not seeing American Alpha on NXT every week, but they definitely deserve the call-up. As they were making their entrance, the Authors of Pain attacked them from behind. One of them just shoved Jordan off the ramp into the side railing, and they slammed Gordon on the ramp. Paul Ellering walked down, and all three headed to the ring as they led to the first commercial break. American Alpha got up, they sent the officials away, and they sent Authors of Pain to the outside. They have yet to give these guys a name. I'm just calling them Thing 1 and Thing 2 at this point. American Alpha wore off one of them. He had a tattoo on his, I think, right arm. One of them tossed Gable up in the air. The other caught him in a bear hug, and then the first guy ran into Gable and kind of sandwiched him. It looked very vicious. Jordan got the hot tag. He suplexed both of them with ease. Very impressive strength by Jason Jordan. Gable came in. He went after one of them like a rabid wolf, rabid animal. He then hit his own suplex. The Authors went for a double team move, but Jordan tripped one of them, and Gable locked the other guy into an ankle lock. The one on the outside pulled his partner to the ropes, but Jordan landed a huge diving splash over the ropes. Gable went for a baseball slide, but one of these guys caught him and then swung him into the LED siding, similar to what Kevin Owens does. Jordan was sent to the steel steps. One of them went to, one of them threw him into the steel steps, and then the Authors of Pain hit Chad Gable with their leg sweep clothesline combo to get the win. This was a very exciting match. American Alpha were obviously the underdogs, and they played the role perfectly, not backing down from the Authors of Pain, just going at it, not stopping, just pouncing right on it whenever they got the chance. But the Authors of Pain obviously were too strong for American Alpha to take them both down. And I don't think the crowd's ever been behind a tag team like they have been with American Alpha, just wanting them to see them get the win and just take down these two bullies. But with American Alpha pretty much on their way out, it's nice of them to put over the new heel team as they make their way to the main roster. The Revival were asked what's next for them. Dash said that they want a thank you letter from the Authors of Pain for wearing down American Alpha physically and emotionally. Dawson called themselves the LeBron and Kyrie as they were down in the 2 out of 3 falls match and came back and got the win. He said no other team could beat them and entered Johnny Gargano into Tommaso Ciampa. Gargano said, nobody can beat you guys, huh? Referencing that he and Ciampa, they defeated him a few weeks ago. Gargano, as he walked away, was saying, tick-tock, tick-tock. So it's inevitable that these two are going to face off, and that should be a really good match. If American Alpha and the Revival had a really good match, these two are definitely going to have a really good match. I don't know if it's going to have it a takeover or what, but it should be a fun match. We then got a hype video that Hideo Itami will be returning to NXT in 2 weeks. It's been about damn time. I don't know how long he's been out. I know he had the shoulder surgery and he had difficulties recovering. So he's been out for a year, almost a year. I mean, what was it? I'm trying to think. It was when Joe made his debut, I think it was. Or something around that time. It was like definitely last summer. So it's been almost a year, if not longer. He's been doing some house shows, so he's been active in the ring. This won't be his first match back. So he's healthy, and having Hideo Itami is going to give another star to NXT that they lost during the draft. So it'll be interesting. I kind of want to see a showdown between Nakamura and Hideo Itami, see how that's going to play out. Third match, Patrick Clark versus Austin Aries. Clark had some size to him, but his face, he would just look very weird looking. No offense, I guess. It's just, I don't know, something seemed off about him. Aries was beating him down in the corner. Clark went for a springboard something, but Aries caught him with an elbow, and then he slammed him down, and then switched over to Last Chance here to get the win. As he was celebrating, No Way Jose ran down and attacked him all the way up the ramp and out of the arena. Typical squash match, nothing really major there. Aries, the heel that he is going to win. But the post-match brawl was fun. I actually liked that Jose has a darker side to him, that he's all smiles and dancing. I'm actually kind of interested in this match, I guess. I really wasn't. I'm hoping Aries comes out the victor and not No Way Jose. But seeing that No Way Jose has some emotion other than happy. It's nice to see. After that, we got to our main event of Bayley versus Nia Jax. Bayley was trying to counter some moves. She did a couple times, but Jax was just overpowering her in the earlier going. Bayley hooked up. She slammed Nia's head into the post, but Nia sent her out of the ring for the second time, which led to the first commercial break of this match. Bayley tried making another comeback, but Nia just caught her for a huge backbreaker. Bayley came back, took her down from the apron, I think with like an apron clothesline. Nia shook it off and just tossed her into the steps. She went to slam her in between herself and the steps, but Bayley was able to move out of the way. She then made her comeback with 2 shoulder thrusts in the corner, but Nia Jax ducked the third one. Nia went for her own, but Bayley moved. She then landed some knee strikes from the apron and a diving crossbody. Bayley countered a powerbomb into a roll-up, but got a near fall. Nia then just crushed Bayley as she was coming off the ropes. She then hit a jackhammer. Very, very vicious jackhammer, but Bayley kicked out. If they were building up Nia Jax for this title match, it would have been nice to see her win with the jackhammer. But obviously they're building up Bayley as this comeback story, so she was able to kick out. Nia went for her leg drop, but she hesitated and pulled Bayley over and was going for a splash off the second rope. Bayley sprung up and hit a super belly to Bayley suplex from the second rope, I believe it was, to get the win. It was a good match, but I was kind of bored throughout parts of it because I've seen this story before. The overpowering Nia Jax just wearing down the sympathetical? I'm making stuff up now. The sympathetic babyface in Bayley. She's building the crowd behind her, playing the underdog role. I don't know, I've just seen this story before that I wish they could have went either a different direction with the Bayley redemption or just told a different story with maybe Bayley outsmarting her for most of the match. I don't know. But with the story they've been telling with Bayley just avenging her loss and wanting to get back in the championship picture, I knew Bayley was going to win. But I guess with the draft, that Nia Jax, this was taped before the draft, but with Nia Jax being drafted, it makes sense for her to lose in this front too. So it wasn't just the fact that Bayley's going to get the title shot. And I guess Asuka's Bayley's next opponent at TakeOver. There's really nowhere else for her to go except for one more title match before she's eventually called up. Overall, it was a good episode. The Joe Rhino match was fun, quick, no complaints there. The tag match was really good, even with the pre-match attack. Aries the squash match, and Bayley defeated Nia. They really didn't announce anything for next week, so we'll go into that one blind. I don't know where they're going to go. There's, I think, about a month or so before TakeOver Brooklyn, so they got a lot of time to kill to get that card laid out. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in to Piv's NXT Point of View podcast. You can follow me on Twitter at @bpiv_sports. Rate, review the show on iTunes, Podbean, YouTube, wherever else you guys listen to it. I'll be back around the same time next week. Peace.